Hi guys, welcome to my daily workout. 6 days a week during the quarantine, I'm doing quick, easy workouts at home. I try to keep them to about 20 minutes. Of course, they're done with minimal equipment, and I invite everybody to follow along and join in if they're feeling like it. If you're watching this live, thanks for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube later on, make sure to subscribe for some more free workouts. Okay, so I'll take you through what equipment I'm going to be using today. I have a 10-pound ball for my weight. And then I also have a resistance band, about a 1/2 inch in width there. And then I've got my mat, and that's basically all I'm going to use. I'm going to start with some core bracing to get us warmed up and get the core engaged for some of the bigger movements I'm going to do later on. So today I'm going to keep it real simple and pretty doable with the core stuff. So I'm going to do some dead bugs and I'm going to do some bird dogs. I'm going to do 2 sets of each and 10 reps apiece. They're both kind of one-limbed exercises, so it's actually going to feel like 20 repetitions, 10 per side goes the idea. So we'll start with the dead bug. I'm going to lie flat on my back, like so. I want to make sure that I'm not arching here in the lower back. I want my lower back ribs stuck to the ground. I'm going to have my legs bent about a 90-degree angle here, and I'm going to start with my hands straight up over my head. I'm reaching back with a hand, and I'm reaching forward with that opposite leg like so. I'm making sure my back ribs don't come off the ground, which means I got to take a big bracing breath, 360 degrees around my spine, keeping the core nice and tight the whole time. And I'm just reaching out like that. My other limbs are staying in place. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So not only is that a nice warm up for the abdominals, it's also a great exercise for core stability and helping out the lower back as well. So now I'm going to show you another one that actually is helpful in that regard too. I'm going to flip over, kind of basically mirror imaging what we just did. So this is going to be called the bird dog. You really want to reach for the ground on this one, so your upper back's going to be nice and high. The core's still going to be tight. My shoulder blades are kind of protracting forward as I'm really reaching for the ground the whole time. And what I'm doing here is I'm reaching out with that opposite leg, opposite hand. I'm almost bringing the knee and the elbow together, but I don't want to turn my hips. I want to be nice and square in the back. That's 5, 6, and I want to think reach rather than lift. 7, 8, 9, 10. I'll show you right quick what happens if I lift that leg. If that leg goes too high, notice my hip starts to turn out, and all of a sudden my back is no longer even. So you want to think there's a ball, maybe like a golf ball sitting in the small of your back, and if you turn your hips, it's going to roll and fall off, right? So that's the idea there. So now I'm switching arms, I'm switching legs. Once again, really reaching for the ground, and I'm also reaching out like so. 2, core nice and tight. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Relax. I'm going to go through each of those one more time. I'm just going to flip right over. You can take this at your own pace, of course. Big bracing breath, 360 degrees around the spine. Nice and tight, and we're reaching those opposite limbs. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and that's 10. Flipping over for some bird dogs. So that was dead bug on your back because you're like a dead bug, and this is the bird dog for I don't know what reason. Okay, let's reach for the ground, reaching the whole time, and reaching out. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switching it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And relax there, get your breath for a minute. I'm going to explain how the rest of this session of mine is going to work. So lately, basically, I've been keeping it pretty short and sweet to around 20 minutes. 4 resistance exercises, 1 for each of the big 4 movements. For me, that's the squat, the hinge, the upper body pull, the upper body push. Each day, I prioritize a particular one of those movements and I put it at the top of the list and make that one the most difficult. So today is going to be upper body pull. So for that one, I'm going to do some bent over rows with both the band and the ball, so they're going to be fairly challenging. You can crank that up or down as you like, depending on the equipment that you have. And then I'm going to roll into my hinge variation, which today is actually going to be a glute thrust or a hip thrust, which I'm going to use my couch for. And then after that, I'm going to do some one-arm floor presses, and then we're going to roll into some simple squats. Usually you call them box squats when you're in a gym, but I'm also going to use the couch for that. So I'm going to squat back to the couch. It's going to help me out, and then I'm going to push off of that as I come up. So nice and light squat there. What my aim is 3 sets of each, 10 reps of each. And for the unilateral exercises, the one limb exercises, of course, that's going to be 10 and 10 on either side. And I'm going to try to do all 4 as a block. I can rest after the 4. I do want to keep it going fairly quick, keep those rest periods short. 1, to be more efficient, and 2, to get that cardio work in with the resistance stuff, because obviously I'm not really running outside or running at the track or anything like that these days. Okay, so we'll start with that bent over row. I'm going to show you how I get set up. You can do this a variety of ways. You can just do this with a band, standing on a band. I'm going to spice things up a bit. I'm both going to stand on that band, get some tension going there. I'm going to put my wrist through the band. I'm going to grab that ball, got my core nice and tight. All right, my spine is nice and neutral, and from here I'm rowing, just pulling right up towards me, keeping my elbows nice and tight to the side. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Simple, just like that. If I wanted to make it harder, I would just step out a little bit, then I'll get more tension on the band. So I'll do that next time to kind of crank things up a little bit. Second thing, we've got those glute thrusts. So you're going to want to find something like a bench or a chair, something that's against the wall and not going to move on you. I'm going to snuggle up to this couch right here, and it's hitting me just beneath the shoulder blades, basically. I do want my weight for this one. You can do it without weight, no problem, especially if you're trying it for the first time. I'm going to start with heels flat on the ground. I've got my eyes down towards my hips, but I'm actually going to elevate one leg and just take it out of the equation. So I'm just pushing through one leg, all right? We want to keep that glute nice and tight, pushing through the heel, bridging up, little squeeze of the glutes at the top. The whole time, I keep my eyes down on my hips, because if I start looking up behind me, that's where I'm going to go, and I'm going to bridge too high, and my lower back's going to get involved, which is not what I want. I want to keep this all about the glutes. Core nice and tight the whole time, of course. 7, 8, 9, 10. Once again, if you find that's a little difficult with the weight in your lap, you can do with this no weight. You still get plenty of work out of that. Okay, this side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And I'm going to move right into that one-arm floor press. The way that's going to look, I'm going to do it with the ball. I'm going to lay down on my back. Big bracing breath once again, 360 degrees around the spine, keeping those lower back ribs stuck to the ground. I got my knees bent to help keep those ribs stuck to the ground. And then I've got my weight in my arm just like this. You notice I got about a 45-degree angle with the upper arm to the torso here. So it's not here, which would be very shoulder dominant, and it's not too close, which would be more tricep dominant. It's right about in the middle, so we're emphasizing the pectorals. This arm is just kind of chilling out. You can get it out of the way. And from here, I'm just pressing straight up like a one-arm bench press. locking up that elbow at the top. I don't want to protract my shoulder blade forward. I'm just locking out the elbow. So I'm not doing this, right? I'm just doing that. Doing these one-arm exercises or one-limbed exercises is a great way to take advantage of the equipment you have if your equipment is somewhat limited. That's 10. I'm going to switch hands, arms, so to speak. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the opposite side. 1, 2, remember that 45-degree angle. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. And last one is going to be that box squat. So you're going to find your squat stance. Good way to find your squat stance if you don't know what it is. You just jump up and down, you land, you twist out your heels, you twist out your toes. Now you got a little bit of a flare here. Your feet are probably a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Generally speaking, that's going to be about your squat stance. You can toy with it, find what feels comfortable for you. All right, so I got my knees nice and soft. I am going to hold the weight for this one. You don't have to, once again. And I'm going to hold that weight gauntlet style. So up nice and tall on my chest with my elbows tucked in. I'm going to squat down, push those knees out. I am going to sit on that couch. And then I'm going to push through my heels, come right back up. So that couch is there to help me out. If I sit back on it a little bit, it forces me to fire those muscles of the posterior chain, the glutes in particular. And that makes sure that I'm not putting my weight forward on my toes and giving my knees too much work. So it's actually really helpful for the form. And it does make things a little bit easier as well. 4 more here. Last 2. Keep pushing the knees out at all times. All right, so that's all 4. If you need a little breather, now is the time to take it. I'm going to grab some water. From here on in, I will keep describing what I'm doing, but I'm going to fly pretty fast through this stuff. Okay, so get set up for that bent over row. Once again, I am going to take a bit of a wider stance, just to purely to get more tension on the band here. It's not going to affect the form of the exercise too much besides that. Okay, nice and bent over, big bracing breath, 360 degrees around the spine, core super tight, and I'm rowing in. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice. Switching it up to those glute thrusts. One leg at a time. Shoulder blades against that bench. Driving through the heel, bridging up, little squeeze of the glutes. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Switch it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whew. Right into those one-arm floor presses. Okay. 45-degree angle here. Knees bent. Back ribs stuck to the ground. Big bracing breath. You can exhale as you press. I like to. That's halfway. 3 more. Switching it up. That's halfway. Last 3. All right. And lastly, we got those box squats. Goblet style. Remember pushing those knees apart the whole time, sitting back on it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are pressing primarily through the heel, but you want to make sure the big toe and the little toe are clamping down as well for balance. 8, and make sure you're getting a little bit of more even weight distribution. 9, 10, and of course goes without saying, core tight the whole time, but that works for all of this stuff. Little breather here, and we got one more set of all that. Then I'm going to hit a nice little core finisher, which you can join in on if you've got the time and energy and desire to. All right. Last one on the bent over rows. I'm going to make this as tough as I can for myself, so it's going to involve a bit of a wider stance. We'll see how far this band will go. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, glute thrust. One leg up and out of the way, driving through the heel, eyes down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And from here right into the last of the floor presses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and lastly, we got the goblet squat to the box, bench, couch, chair, whatever you're using. All right, pushing those knees out, core nice and tight. We want to think ribs down, so we don't want to do this and have the rib cage flare, because that means we're arching in the lower back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, great work. Take a little breather here, a little water if you need it. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way and just keep my mat. The finisher, if you're joining in with me, will require no equipment, just your limbs. So, today I'm going to hit some bear crawls. If you know what bear crawls are, fantastic. If you don't, here's what it's going to look like, okay? So, I'm going to keep my shins basically parallel to the ground. I'm on my toes here, and I'm on the base of my palms. And you want to make sure it is the base. You want to have that shoulder stacked over the elbow, over the base of the palm. Nice straight line. Try to keep that up at all times, okay? So I'm elevating here, my back is nice and flat like a tabletop. I got my core nice and tight. I'm not letting the midsection sag. I'm not getting my butt too high. And when I move, I don't. So I'm gonna go back and forth 10 times. We'll see how that feels. Okay, getting nice and tall, and let's go. Keeping those hips square and silent. By which I mean, they're not swaying back and forth. That's 1. If you don't feel like going for 10 laps today, or if you've got a different size room than me, which is quite likely, you just do whatever you can do. Challenge yourself, don't exhaust yourself, unless you have literally nothing else to do today, which might be the case. Make sure your form doesn't degrade over time. It is pretty tough to keep this up. That's 3. 4, 5, 'Remember, don't let that midsection sag. That's a note to myself too. That's 6. Quads are probably starting to burn. That's all right. That's part of it. That's 7. Resist the temptation to speed up. That's 8. Almost there. It's 9. Got one more lap. And that is 10. If you made it this far, congratulations. Either way, if you're just watching, following along, and you didn't decide to join in, that's all good. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope this gives you some ideas and some creative ways to use your space, your equipment, whatever that may be. If you're watching this on YouTube, please subscribe. I will have more videos tomorrow, the next day, the day after that.